Last night we brought you a story about a dangerous building notice issued to the owners of Auckland Strand Arcade. It was deemed a dangerous building on June the 30th last year, and nearly a year on, the designation is still in effect. Now, Auckland Council told us today that if the building had been deemed unsafe for all users, it would have closed it, but it was only dangerous for certain activities, in this case the use of the food court and the use of the building for temporary backpackers accommodation. It says both were closed down and have remained closed down. It says the dangerous building notice, which we must point out is still in effect, will be removed once these issues are permanently fixed, which is the responsibility of the building owner. It could not give us a time frame for when the notice would be lifted, but says it has spoken to the fire service today and it would attend a fire if one broke out there. Well, tonight we can reveal another building in Auckland CBD which was allowed to stay open, business as usual, for more than a year while the owner fixed serious fire safety problems. The Sky World Entertainment building on Queen Street, very well known if you live in the city, had inadequate fire safety systems for 18 months. During that time, essential fire systems such as smoke alarms, smoke detectors and extractor fans weren't working. So the council asked the owner to employ fire wardens to stand in movie theatres to detect fires. Zach Fleming explains.
Any other building in this country would have been shut down.
Speaking on condition of anonymity, a man who worked on the fire protection systems at the Sky World Entertainment Centre on Auckland's Queen Street. For more than a year, he says some of the building's smoke alarms, smoke detectors and smoke extractor fans weren't working.
There was, very importantly, a lot of work around the cinemas, which the preventive systems or the warning systems within those cinemas just weren't working or hadn't been maintained.
To put this into context, Skyworld's 7 stories house movie theatres, a bowling alley, mini golf, a games arcade, 12 retail stores, 11 restaurants and a food court. 2 million people visit every year. It's one of the busiest buildings in Auckland. And in August 2015, its warrant of fitness was rejected by Auckland Council, primarily for fire compliance issues. Then a good faith agreement was reached.
He said, yes, we cleaned the 10 to 12 inches of built-up fat out of the exhaust system so it wouldn't catch fire. We showed that we cleaned it up. We showed that we did many things to get things sorted out, but there were a list of maybe 10, 12 things that we couldn't convince James Quack to do before he needed the building warrant of fitness.
In a letter obtained by Checkpoint, James Quack, the building's owner, wrote to Auckland Council in December 2015, citing management structure issues. He said he didn't realise how non-compliant his building was.
Hey presto, building warrant of fitness arrived.
He promised to fix the remaining issues, which he estimated would cost him just $57,000. And in response, Auckland Council wrote back to him in January 2016.
The WOF has now been accepted for the above site with the accompanying letter of explanation. We are now satisfied that a pathway to achieving compliance has been embarked upon. Please be advised that resolving issues with systems for automatic fire suppression and emergency warning is of the utmost priority and must be addressed as soon as possible. If you could please provide updates to progress in this area, this would be appreciated.
But fast forward 11 months. By the end of last year, many of those problems James Quack had promised in writing to fix weren't fixed.
There was an ultimatum. You can do these things or you won't be able to open certain areas within that building. One of the areas was a food court, the other was a cinemas.
After a year and a half of unfulfilled promises, Auckland Council designated Skyworld a dangerous building, saying that safety systems were, quote, inadequate to protect the occupants of the building in the event of a fire. The council demanded fire wardens be placed in the movie theatres to detect fires.
Hello, Skyworld.
Checkpoint made several attempts to contact owner James Quack, but he couldn't be reached for comment today.
James Quack is out of the country these days.
So he's not in New Zealand at the moment?
No, he's back to Korea for like 1 or 2 months.
Okay.
But I'm not sure when he's coming back.
The building manager, in his absence, Chad Han, was unable to find anyone who could comment on behalf. Our source says repairs did not need to take 18 months.
If you wanted to bring that building up to standard, you could in a very short space of time. Not a year, not 4 months. Something like 3 to 4 weeks is ample time if you really are intent on bringing a building up to standard.
3 fire protection and compliance companies Checkpoint spoke to today say they have pulled out of contracts with James Quack. One cited philosophical differences. The Skyworld building is now fully compliant. The dangerous building notice was lifted on the 16th of May, just under 5 months after it was issued. The council declined to be interviewed, but in a statement, its building control compliance manager Sally Gray said the council put in safety measures to ensure the safety of customers and staff until a permanent fix could be achieved. She said the council has worked with the building's owners for the past 5 months, sufficiently remediating issues so the dangerous building notice could be lifted. The building owners are now undertaking their obligations in respect to a building warrant of fitness. For Checkpoint, Zach Fleming.